Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to discuss with you how to choose a language arts curriculum, or better yet, questions that you may want to ponder or ask yourself before purchasing any shiny new curriculum online or going into a store or a homeschool convention ready to spend your dollars. I know it's very tempting to watch YouTube videos and watch everyone's review and when they open the packages that they receive and you see this beautiful colored bright curriculum and they're so excited about it and they show you how it works for their son or daughter. Trust me, I watch plenty of those videos too, but I would say let's pause that for a moment and let's not look at those videos if you're in the process of deciding what best works for you. Keep in mind that there is no one curriculum that works for everyone, every student, every household, every parent, or every teacher. And that's the beauty of homeschooling. We have the opportunity to fine-tune, tweak, and tailor whatever curriculum we are using in order to meet the specific needs of our individual children. So with that said, get a pen and a piece of paper, write some of these questions down. Literally, write some of these questions down. And then think about which ones are more applicable to you. And then write them in like a checklist form. Okay, so in a vertical? Yeah. Write them vertically going downward. And as you're looking at various curriculums, then, check off, does it meet these answers? So you're going to write these questions down. You're going to write the answers to the questions. And then as you look through curriculum, you're going to check off whether or not they meet the needs of your specific child. If it doesn't meet it, regardless of how pretty or popular it is, please don't purchase it. If it meets all or the majority of your checks, then go ahead and explore. But don't be afraid to trash it or change it mid-year. That's okay. Sometimes trial and error is the best way of finding the most appropriate curriculum for our children. So with that said, let's get started with the video. I'm going to look down because I did write my questions on a piece of paper and I don't want to miss any of this great information. Okay. So first, what is language arts, right? Language arts can be referred to as ELA or ELAR, which is basically, English language arts and reading, or English language arts, or some people may call it language arts. But what does that encompass? What topics or subjects does that include? It's a lot, guys. It includes reading comprehension, phonics, grammar, vocabulary, spelling. Some may even include writing in language arts. I personally do not include writing in our language arts program or curriculum. I do something completely different because my thought process on writing is a lot different than what the normal curriculums say it should look like. Language arts also includes narration, copywork, and dictation. I will do a separate video on copywork, narration, and dictation and explain what those three things are and whether or not it's even important to include those aspects within your homeschool. Okay, so that's what language arts includes. That's a lot. The first thing I would ask you is, how much time do you want to spend giving your child instruction? That's the question. How much time do you even have to spend on giving your children instruction on any one or all of the subjects that I just mentioned? Are you even comfortable with teaching any of these topics? Do you even want to teach any of these topics? Or do you want to outsource them to a teacher, a tutor, or to curriculums that are more focused on giving video instruction? Again, as you're writing these questions down, just think about it and you can either pause the video and answer it, or you can write the questions down at the end of the video, go ahead and answer them. But I really think this is a really cool exercise to do before you make your purchase, just to make sure you're not getting into the habit of just purchasing just to purchase because someone said it was great, someone did a great review, the curriculum looks bright and shiny and pretty, or it's popular. No, we're going to figure out how to make a good decision in terms of the resources, supplements, and curriculum or programs that we bring into our household for our children. Will you get it right the first time? Maybe not. But I don't want you to get into the habit of changing your curriculum, 3 and 4 and 5 times because we're jumping in without making proper decisions or thinking things through. That's the point of this video. Next question you want to write down is, are you teaching more than one child? Are you looking to have an all-inclusive curriculum? Let's go back to teaching more than one child. Are you teaching more than one child, or do you want a curriculum that is so broad that it will allow you to teach multiple children across grades and ages within one curriculum? You may also want to consider, again, back to the all-inclusive. Do you want a curriculum that includes all these subjects that I talked about earlier in this video? Or are you more concerned about, let's say, grammar, and you can find a different way for doing vocabulary and spelling and narration and dictation and all the other fluff or stuff that are included in the language arts subject. You may also want to consider grade level and what is truly important at the stage your child is in. And what I mean by that is, what grade is your child in, first of all? And if they're in the 3rd grade, right, you may want to consider 2 things. You may want to ask yourself, what are 3rd graders supposed to know nationally or in my state? And if this is what they're supposed to know, are there any gaps that my son or daughter may have? Are they missing anything? Or if that's not even important to you, then you don't even have to ask yourself that question, but you may want to just understand, in my opinion, that grade level doesn't really even matter. If your child is working below their grade level, that's fine. If they're working above their grade level or they're at their grade level, that is a-okay. That's the beauty of homeschool. The beauty of homeschool allows you, parent, to make the right decision for your kid based on where they are at this exact moment. Next question you may want to consider is, what is your focus for the year? All the language arts may include all of the subjects I just mentioned. You have to ask yourself, is it really important for me to teach all these concepts to a 1st grader, a 3rd grader, a 6th grader, a 9th grader? Like, what's important at this stage? As a kindergartner or a 1st grader, what do I really want to focus on? You may want to focus on reading, comprehension, and phonics, right? Maybe in the 5th grade, 4th, 5th grade, you want to hit hard on grammar. Maybe throughout their entire matriculation through school with you, you may want to focus on all the concepts or all the topics. It's totally up to you, but you really need to know this year, what is my true focus on? And that's really important, guys, because if you don't know that answer, then you're going to buy curriculum that includes information or material that you're not going to use. So you're paying for materials or information that you're not even utilizing. You're going to only use 1/4 of the book. So you paid $50 for 1/4 of the book when you could have purchased something or used a smaller resource that was a few bucks that focused on that one key area that was critical to you, and then everything else you would have just, focused on it some other time or found some other way of teaching it to your son or daughter. So think about that. Next, I would say we talked about the gaps. We talked about, are there any gaps that exist for your child? If your child is in the 7th grade and they know absolutely nothing about grammar, that's a problem, in my opinion. And you may want to start focusing on the grammar and the mechanics of language arts and writing as an example, because at that stage, they're going to start, if they haven't already started, essay writing and research papers and more formal writing, and they need to understand how to put a good sentence together, right? So you may want to start focusing on that type of stuff. Are there any gaps that may exist? If your child is in the second grade or third grade and they're not really tight on grammar, that's okay. Children don't have to master any one particular area, especially in the elementary school age, okay? But once they start getting into middle school and high school, then you kind of want to make sure that they have the grammar together, they're learning about the writing, they're practicing, and they're utilizing resources and tools to help enhance those things. Okay. Next thing you want to ask yourself is my child the type of learner that requires repetition or a lot of examples and practice? Some curriculum, they provide you so much repetition. They have a chapter of 24 or a book of 24 chapters, and they may have 10 concepts that your child is learning within those 24 chapters, but every chapter spirals through, or the first 5 chapters may be one concept and the next chapter may be 2 concepts or something like that. So does your child need repetition? Is your child the type of learner where they need to do something over and over and over again to understand it? Or is your child the type of learner that gets it once or twice and they can move on to another concept and you can spiral through just to make sure they didn't forget, or you can spiral back to those previously taught concepts just to make sure it serves as a refresher for them? Is that something you want to do? Or do you want to invest in a product that offers repetitiveness because your child may need it, and that's okay? So you want to ask yourself that. Because that'll help you avoid buying curriculum that that helps you avoid buying curriculum that just creates frustration for your child. Because I know my son, he hates doing something over and over and over again. If he gets it, please move on, and I can bring it back next month and we can talk about it. So that may be something you want to consider, okay? I don't want to make this video too long. We're already at 12 minutes, so let me go ahead and move on. Does your child prefer online learning, videos, textbooks, or consumables? And that's really important to know, as well as whether or not your child is auditory, kinesthetic, or visual. You can look up those terms: kinesthetic, auditory, or visual. Those are like the learning styles. So that just explains to you, how does your child learn best? What method or mechanism helps your child process information better? And that doesn't necessarily mean that if your child is visual, everything has to be visually appealing. Or if your child is kinesthetic, they need manipulatives. You can have a hodgepodge. You can have resources that are pulled together that allows them to learn in different ways, but you want to make sure your primary curriculum, whatever that is, or primary program, caters to their primary core learning style. And you also want to make sure that if your child likes to learn online, they may not like a workbook. They may not want to sit and do worksheets or workbooks over and over and over again. They may want you to write it on the board. They may want to go through a sentence pattern or dictation, or going through phonics or reading. They may want you to do that information on the board, right? Rather than doing it on a worksheet. So you may want to consider that as well. And do you even really need curriculum, guys? Ask yourself that question, really. Do I really need to purchase a program or a curriculum? Or is my learning, your homeschool style or your child's learning style, more aligned to notebooking, lap booking, unit studies, and things of that nature? Because I also believe that with any subject, you can really use those types of methods to teach a specific concept. And your child may learn better by learning a concept and moving on, and not having to review the same thing over and over again. And you can bring in so many different supplements and resources if you do lapbooking, notebooking, and unit studies. There are lots of YouTube videos out there that explain what those three things are, and they also provide examples. So feel free to kind of dive in deeper into those concepts and kind of figure out what those are, and if it is something that may be of interest to you and your household and your children or child. Also, you want to ask yourself, well, does my child learn better through literature, or do I want to teach all these concepts through literature? First, you absolutely can teach language arts through literature. You don't need a program. You don't need a specific curriculum. All you need is a book. Choose a book that your child likes. May it be a book they're reading independently or a book you're reading aloud to them, okay? You can pick a sentence and you can classify that sentence. You can talk about what are nouns, what are subject nouns, what are pronouns, what are commas, what are commas used for, what type of sentence this is. Is it declarative? Are there any conjunctions? What are conjunctions and prepositions? You can teach grammar through literature. You can teach copywork through literature. Copywork is just writing what you see. That's it. It's great for penmanship, and it's great for kind of getting them acclimated to what good writing feels like and what it sounds like and what it looks like, okay? You can do narration, and narration is basically them repeating, regurgitating what they hear, what they saw, okay? So with narration through literature, you can read something aloud and you can say, tell me what you just heard. What is the main idea of what you just heard? What was the plot? Or what did this character do? Or compare this character to that character. They're narrating what they heard. They're summarizing what they heard. They're just repeating a summary of something just to help with comprehension, okay? You can use literature for dictation. You can use literature, guys, in my opinion, for anything as it relates to language arts. You can use it for spelling as you're reading. If they can't spell a word, or if they can't, they don't know what the definition of a word is, boom, there's your vocabulary, boom, there's your spelling list right there. So literature may be a great option for some homeschooling parents who don't want to deal with purchasing programs or purchasing curriculum. So think about that as well. And finally, I would say, how comfortable are you with putting resources together and tailoring them to create a specific plan for your own children? Some people don't have the time or the creativity, or they just don't want to put different resources together because they're not comfortable with doing that, and that's fine. And if that's you, go ahead and purchase a curriculum, because some curriculum, they're open and go. You can open the book. It tells you what to say, when to say it, and how to say it with the examples. And that may work for you. And for some, you may say, I really don't want that style. I really want to be more eclectic in how I teach my children. I want to pull things together and create and tweak what I think would be best for them. So are you comfortable with doing that or not? So I hope, guys, that some of these questions that I shared with you today will kind of help you make a good decision in choosing the right language arts curriculum for your little ones, for your big ones, depending on what grade they are in, right? And some of these questions are not only specific to language arts. You can use these questions for any type of curriculum: history, math, science, writing, and things of that nature. So if you have any questions for me, leave them in the comment box below, and I'll get back to you at my earliest convenience. Other than that, guys, be blessed and make it a great day. Thanks. Bye.